Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I invite you to warmly welcome the participants of the 29th edition of the MBA in International Business program. Dear MBA 29, distinguished guests, MIB faculty and staff, and extended MIB community, including those who are following our ceremony on live streaming. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the graduation ceremony of the 29th edition of the MBA in International Business program. Today is a day of celebration and recognition that has come through hard work, perseverance, and dedication. Dear participants, I believe that today is an occasion that you will never forget. It is an important day also for your families and friends, as this achievement would have not been possible without their support and their encouragement. Ho il piacere di porgere un caloroso benvenuto anche in italiano alle famiglie e amici dei nostri diplomati che li hanno sostenuto e incoraggiati durante quest'anno e che oggi sono qui per festeggiare assieme a loro questo importante traguardo. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce our Dean, Professor Vladimir Nanut, who will now give his speech.
Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, families, friends, and of course, members of the graduating class. It's also my great pleasure to welcome you all to this ceremony. I would like to give my warmest welcome to Cristiano Borean, Chief Financial Officer of Generali Group, and I would like to express him the gratitude of the entire MIB community for accepting the honor to honor us with his presence and speech. Mr. Borean's attendance here today confirms the strong relationship of trust and cooperation between MIB Trieste and Generali. Mr. Borean is one of the top managers in the financial area of leading global insurance group, and his speech will represent a remarkable evidence of competence and expertise and will be of great interest and inspiration for everybody. We gather today to celebrate a moment of value in the life of our MBA candidates. The celebration of Graduation Day is indeed always an exciting moment of transition for students, families, and as well for our school. The Graduation Day celebrates a meaningful program of our school. The MBA in International Business has been the first program developed by MIB Trieste. And despite the today wide portfolio of training projects of our school, your MBA remains the flagship program of the school that bears its name. I'd like to remind that MIB Trieste School of Management comes from Master, MBA, and International Business. In the international scenario, and considering the today initiative and projects, we can say that MIB is continuing to improve its international reputation and to increase its educational offer. For instance, a new MBA program will be launched in the beginning of the next year. I speak about the Executive MBA in Business Innovation, devoted to train people to face the digital revolution beside all the other function of an MBA. And as you know, the school boasts the full accreditation by the Association of MBAs for the MBA in International Business, our Executive MBA, and of course also for the new Executive Master in Business Innovation. AMBA, as you may know, is the most important international accreditation for MBAs and only accredit 2% of the leading business school in the world. MIB Trieste has been re-awarded the AMBA accreditation this year, a few months ago, confirming school standing as a world-class provider of business education. We strongly believe that the only way to advance and grow is to ensure always the highest quality standards to our students. The national and international accreditations we have earned, ASFOR, AMBA, IPAS, are the most valuable acknowledgement of our efforts. Going through our training programs, in addition to offering MBAs and master degrees to talented graduates from all over the world, the school is becoming reference point for managers and executives. Leading and many unsuccessful projects for major companies, MIB is reinforcing its position in corporate and executive education. In the last year, the school trained more than 1,000 executives, providing now 9,000 training man days. MIB is becoming a prominent management school, both for leading Italian companies like such as Generali, Allianz, Illy Caffè, Fincantieri, Danieli, just to mention some cases, and also for multinational enterprises operating in the global market. Confirming the international position and the quality recognition, innovating the training offer and strengthening the links with the corporate world, these are some of the goals that MIB has set itself to grow and to offer valuable benefits both to students and businesses. Dear graduates, first of all, congratulations on completing the long and challenging pathway that has led you to this graduation. I want to congratulate also parents, families, friends who supported, sustained, and strengthened you in this time that you spent here at our school. I would like also to thank the faculty members who have taught and mentored you, and the members of MIB team who have worked so hard to make your time among us comfortable and fruitful. But as all the moment of transition, this ceremony is an occasion both to think through the past and to consider the future that lies before you. I'm convinced that your future will be bright, as you are now equipped with one of the great degrees in education, the Master in Business Administration of MIB Trieste School of Management. As our graduates, you are now called to become the leaders capable to drive, influence, stimulate, plan, develop, and implement. Finally, to make the difference to people and organizations you will work for. And as a future leaders, you will have to find the right balance between personal ambitions and social responsibility, using core ethical values as the basis for your thinking and leading. In the school vision, a good leadership refers not only to competence and skills, but to ethics. Having this in mind, we embrace the Latin motto Recta Tueri as a school slogan. This motto is carved in the marble under the statue of Imperator Ferdinand Habsburg in the facade of this palace and remind us to need always preserve the values of the most rigorous rectitude. MIB Trieste School of Management believes and supports the growth of a new management class that cultivates and defends the common good, knows the value of sacrifice, and enhances the principle of meritocracy, perseverance, and commitment. I invite you to give the evidence of being that kind of leaders through a behavior inspired by values of personal integrity and social accountability. Respect your followers, be fair, loyal, and honest. Work hard for the community goals. Dear graduates, from today on, as our ambassadors in the world, you have to uphold the name and the prestige of MIB Trieste School of Management. Be proud of the degree you have deserved here. We will follow your professional progress closely, and we will be always by your side. Moreover, we need you. Your advice and your support will help us to expand our activities, to develop new projects, and bring the members of network closer together. Watching you from afar will make us a little sad, but excited. Come back and see us. And when you do it, bring your stories with you. We will always be happy to welcome you in the Ferdinandeo Palace, the common home of alumni of Trieste School of Management. My very best wishes to all of you, and ad maiora. Thank you.
Now I invite Professor Andrea Tracogna, the Academic Director of the MBA in International Business Program, to take the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear MBA graduates, it's a great pleasure for me to be in front of you and to say some words in the occasion of this very positive conclusion of the 29th edition of the MBA in International Business Program. After the inspiring words of Professor Nanuto, I would like to give to the audience and to you all also some details about your journey, your experience. The numbers speak for themselves. Since last September 2018, you took more than 700 classroom hours, spread over 120 working days. 20 different courses, both compulsory and electives, almost 50 exams and formal evaluations, dozens of individual and group sessions of feedback and orientation. Further, 3 on-the-field projects, including a consulting project with our American partners of Rollins College, and 2 projects on new product development and business planning for startups. Then a number of corporate visits, business presentations, and several meetings with top managers and entrepreneurs. Not to forget, for some of you, the long exchange programs in China, in the US, and also the study tours, the old ones, the well-established in London and Munich, and the new one in Milan. Further, after the end of the teaching activities, beginning of June, you kept working very hard over the last few months on the thesis preparation, and for some of you also on job internships and working experiences in different countries, cities, and offices. Overall, your total workload at the individual level has been higher than 1,700 hours. So, a lot of work. And it wasn't easy for you to manage the intense agenda and to combine your training and learning goals with your personal life. Further, you also kept very high your commitment to the MBA and your dedication and motivation throughout the program. But if the investment of time, energy, and commitment have been impressive, so have the outcomes, which we have measured very carefully at the academic level and at the leadership development level. And I must congratulate you for all these achievements. At the same time, the school should congratulate itself for having selected this outstanding and talented cohort of students, coming from all the regions of the world. And indeed, your different academic background, professional experience, national culture have offered unique opportunities for enrichment and have represented probably the key success factor of this MBA. So diversity has been the key ingredient in turning some 20 individuals into a very strong and integrated group. I feel obliged as the academic director of the MBA to say some words regarding the qualification, the degree you are receiving today. MBAs have become, as you know, an established standard and needed format in postgraduate management education, particularly for people like you that are targeting high-level positions, both in business context and also outside it. Of course, a special category of MBAs is represented by those few MBAs that hold international accreditations, as Professor Nanut recalled. This year, further, as again the Dean has mentioned, we have successfully carried out a reaccreditation process led by the Association of MBAs. And we have received an encouraging feedback. The accreditors, they have signaled 3 key elements of this MBA program that I like to emphasize and to remind to all of you. First, our emphasis on the development of international management capabilities. Second, our cross-functional approach and vision to business, which is also complemented and integrated with soft skills development. And third, our strong leverage on the other areas of the school expertise, like insurance, financial and risk management, as well as innovation and entrepreneurship. Further, several MBA innovations have been appreciated by AMBA, such as a new course in strategic consulting in collaboration with McKinsey, the new course on corporate sustainability strategies, and also the new and revised management accounting course taught by two colleagues from Harvard Business School and Boston University. So we firmly believe overall, considering all the features and contents of our MBA, that its intrinsic quality will open you many doors in the world of business and significantly speed up your career. It is now just the right time to give in thanks to people who have contributed to this MBA success. Professor Nanut has sent already some thanks to the school and the faculty and the staff, but I would like to be more specific. Of course, first and foremost, I want to thank, on behalf of the school also, all the people that from the outside has supported you and encouraged you over these 12 demanding months. I mean, your family members, your friends who are with you in person today or perhaps only in spirit. Then as regards the people that have helped you from the inside of the school, I start my list with a mention to Victoria Pletz, your program manager. She has been the bridge between you and the instructors, taking care of the daily operations of the MBA. Then thanks to Tim Baxter, the co-director, who has helped you become a strong team, first of all, and showing you the way to exploit your leadership potential and express in full your talents. Thanks to Barbara Vidotto as well, who has worked hard to help you define your career orientation, facilitating your meetings with the corporate world, and arranging several job interviews and corporate connections. Thanks also to Barbara Sepic, the admission officer, for having managed so well the selection process of you. And many thanks to the entire school staff, the academic and the operative staff, for having enthusiastically supported both the academic, the curricular, and the extracurricular activities. Of course, not to forget the several guest speakers, managers, professionals, and their companies who have complemented the academic side of the program with the flavor, the taste of the business practice. Graduations, as the Dean has mentioned, have always been special events and moments in the school's life. Moments that are full of emotions, expectations, relief. And this graduation, of course, is not an exception. It signs a transition moment for you. Many opportunities are opening up, and you are called, to make decisions, important decisions. Of course, we cannot imagine exactly where you will be in a few months or years, which country, which company, which position, but we can safely bet on you because we know your value. And again, it may seem rhetoric, but it's not. We will very close to you. We will be very close to you because your achievements are also ours. This is how a school can grow and succeed. Ours is not a goodbye. There will soon be opportunities, plenty of opportunities to stay in touch, to meet again, either in this school or in any other occasion arranged or scheduled or organized by the Alumni Association. Because you are now at the center of this broad community, which goes beyond students and graduates, that includes also lecturers, firms, and entrepreneurs, managers, and so on. Our hope is that you can be a lively part of this little world. So, dear graduates of the 29th edition of the MBA International Business, I close my speech with the expression of my sincere congratulations for your achievements and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the MBA Associate Director to take the floor. Please welcome Tim Baxter.
Quick change of technology here. So, how are you? Huh? How is it? One second whilst I get things ready. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for letting us have these guys for a whole year. Thank you. A round of applause for everybody allowing you to be with us. Now, I hope we can now change. There we go. No? No, that's not me. That is me. But if we can change onto my PC, that would be fantastic, guys. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Andrea Tracogna, who spoke before me, is a numbers man, and you heard lots of numbers. You know I am not a numbers man. But today I'm going to try and use some numbers. This is going to be quite challenging for people who don't know me. I stay well away from numbers because they bite. But I think this could be useful for us in making a link between the world of numbers and what I think you've achieved. So let's begin with a simple question. In the UK, I'm from the UK, there are definitely two different types of people. You've got cat people and dog people, and not many people in the middle. So I'm just going to do a quick survey here. Can I ask how many people are cat people? How many people prefer cats? Thank you, madam, for your sincerity. Okay, right. How many people like dogs? We have, oh, the dogs are winning. Now, the real question is this. How come cats are so antisocial, asocial? Apart from the lions, all cats are asocial. They tend to do their own things. How come dogs tend to hang around in groups, in packs? What's the difference there? And to be honest, it's not the dogs that win here. Primates, if we take primates, they hang around in even bigger groups, groups of about 50. So what's the difference? What's going on that makes one group of animals decide they want to be loners, and other groups decide that they want to be with others of their species? And the answer is, it's the brain and evolution. So basically, cats' brains haven't really changed for about 25 million years. That's a long, long time. Dogs, yes, there's been a little bit more evolution. Primates, a lot more. And basically what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is this, the neocortex. And the neocortex is the part of the brain, the final part of the brain that has evolved. It's rationality, it's analysis, it's numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It's the world of Andrea Tracogna and many engineers in front of me here. Now, I'd like to speak a little bit about what the neocortex is. Oh, this is a human neocortex, yeah? And why that matters for us in the numbers game. So, many years ago, 1992, a gentleman tried to study basically the connection between the volume of the neocortex and the size of a social grouping that you find in various animals. And he found a very interesting thing, which is the greater the volume of the neocortex, the bigger the groups, that the animals tend to create. Now, his name was Robin Dunbar, and it's called the Dunbar number. So basically, he has plotted where animals are in terms of this Dunbar number. And the human Dunbar number, ladies and gentlemen, is 150. In other words, we beat every other primate. Now, what's 150? What does this mean? What does it signify? He did a lot of looking into history. For example, he had a look at basic professional army sizes, starting right back in the Roman legions. So there were centuries, these were groups of 80. Then I have been told that the British Army, their company sizes are about 120, 150. Same thing for the US Army. Yesterday I was told by my Argentinian Army source that the Argentinian Army company number is about 120, 140. Not tanks, not tanks. And so basically, it seems to be a recurring number, but not only in terms of army size, also in terms of village size. So again, Dunbar, he's from the UK. He said that village sizes from about 1000 AD to just 150 years ago were basically around the same size, 150. If we look at hunter-gatherers, either prehistoric or right up to the modern day, hunter-gatherer groups can get to more or less 150. If they get bigger than that, they will tend to split. Now, at this point, you will say, yes, but we're not hunter-gatherers, we don't live in the 18th century, we're not in the army. What relevance does 150 have for us? Well, there's also been done a lot of work done on Facebook. I was reading a research that looked at 1 million Facebook user profiles, and the average number of Facebook friends are between 150 and 200. Interesting stuff. What makes the difference between 150 and 200 is basically the difference between introverts and extroverts, which I find interesting. Now, you can say, okay, if 150 is the number, then how can you explain megacities? How can you explain conglomerates of huge numbers of people? Yes, that's going to be difficult, but I will try. Well, the first thing to say is 150 comes at a price. There is a reason why animals tend to work in groups, and that's because they have an evolutionary advantage. But there's no such thing as a free lunch, and in order to use these groups to achieve other things, you need to work at it. You need to do what's called social grooming. Now, for our friends, the primates, that means taking can I say, flies and fleas off each other. But social grooming is quite difficult because it's one-to-one. So human beings are very clever because they've created a number of techniques to social groom big numbers. So that's why we've got a bigger number than the apes. I'm going to make a link now to something way back in 1973, which was this idea of something called weak and strong links, weak and strong ties, and try and make a link back to what Dunbar did. So, think about big cities, ladies and gentlemen. If you live in a big city, or even a small city, you will tend to interact with many strangers. When you bought a newspaper today, when you bought a bus ticket today, when you bought a beer yesterday, Mario, all of those things were transactional. Basically, I didn't need to know you very well, but there was a link in terms of something was being exchanged, usually money for services or so on. The next one is advice. So we start off with a weak link, but it's still a link. Advice is a little bit more. It's technical advice. So I have to go, for example, if I'm going to go and buy an iPad, and I ask the person in the shop for more information, that's advice. So a little bit stronger link. Then there's something called reciprocity, where basically it's what I do for you, you can do for me. Little bit stronger link. Then we go into the realms of feelings. So liking. I don't know why, but I can get on with this person. I don't know why, but it feels right. Then we go to shared commitment and an even stronger link. In other words, we're doing something together. We have a common goal. We have common values. We have common objectives. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the strongest of all of these, which is trust. In other words, it goes way beyond this idea of a single objective. Now, you can say, fine, okay, weak links, strong links, Dunbar number, make the connection. Here's my attempt. You see, Dunbar doesn't just stop at 150. He gets a little bit more specific, and I think we can link back to this. So, let's begin with your core one or two people. You tend to have some best friends, one or two people. I've been told that we speak about BFFs, so best friends forever. Okay, so I'd like you, when we're doing this, to just to think a little bit about what these groupings are for you, and if you may have these groupings in the MBA. Not necessarily, but okay. So that's the first core, one or two people usually. If we go up a little bit more, about 5. These are what are called intimate friends. They're people who you can show your emotions clearly to. So if you're having trouble, they can comfort you. Yeah? A shoulder to cry on. Let's go a little bit more, and we go to the next level, which is about 15 people, which is if I need to, I want to have a dinner party at my house, which 15 people would I invite? So we're talking about dinner party friends, yeah? Go a little bit further. Summertime, barbecue. How about the barbecue? 50 friends to go to a barbecue. And what we can see here is we're going out towards slightly weaker ties. I'll add everything else in. So basically, this is what we've got. Dunbar says, yes, there is 150 that we can talk about friends, but there's a lot more as well. We're talking about the quality of relationships. It's not a number. It's what the number represents. And the further you go into the center, the stronger the ties are. Now, what does all this mean to us? Well, what I'm going to suggest is this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that in an MBA, everyone becomes a best friend. I really don't. But what I really do think is that through 1 year, you're able to create ties, weak or strong, that are going to be very useful for you. Actually, the interesting thing is, back in 1973, they said weak ties can be very useful because that means you're interacting with people who are not like you. Yeah? So think very carefully about where the various people who you've interacted with for 1 year would be. Yeah, maybe they started in one place and maybe they've changed. Could be the right direction, could be the wrong direction. I'll give you something which gives you some idea of this. So I did my MBA, as you know, 23 years ago. And on Tuesday, I received a text message. And the text message is this. Okay, it's from Stefano. Stefano also did my MBA. Hi, Tim, how are you? If you have time next Saturday, Leo and I have planned this hike in the mountains. We'll stay Friday night in Cortina and then start off early the next morning. Well, they're hiking at the moment and I'm here, so I couldn't do that, yeah? But the interesting thing is that a link that we created way back in 1995, 96 is still alive. It's still alive. Now, they're doing their own things, but it's still alive. This is what I find interesting. So let's think about neocortex. To begin with, we spoke about numbers and rationality and analysis, but to be honest, the neocortex, ladies and gentlemen, is something much, much deeper. It's the ability to cope with, to create relationships, and that's going to be the future. Numbers is an extra thing, but really it's the relationship and the quality of the relationships that you use going forward that will make the difference. And I believe that along with all of the notions and all of the ideas that you had, this is probably going to be the biggest takeaway in the long term. Don't underestimate it. And the more that we continue to network, the more that we continue to work at a distance, the more important it becomes. So I'd like to just share, to finish off with, a couple of examples of how these guys created their weak or strong ties, just to give you some flavor of how they created something special, which is MBA 29. Well, definitely sport creates links, and here is a very arty photo of some of our guys about to play football. Some of them are better than others. There we go. That's sport again. Interacting with the context, very important, ladies and gentlemen, whatever the context may be. We learnt this year that Brazilians like rain. We learnt that everybody likes snow, but we learned that Brazilians really, really, really like snow. Another thing that's important is the ability to test yourself. And you're only going to test yourself and open up if you feel that you're in a safe environment. We did a lot about that together. So it's stretching your comfort zone. So I've got a couple of examples of that for you. First, this gentleman here stretches his comfort zone in the use of chopsticks. It's still work in progress, as you can see. Another example of stretching your comfort zone is paying for a meal. This gentleman here, obviously he hasn't paid for a meal in quite a long time. Actually, at the end of that, he was washing dishes for about an hour and a half. Other things that create bonds. Well, definitely, Andrea Traconia spoke about company visits, and definitely dressing up in silly uniforms creates bonds. I've just got a couple more examples here, and I'm going to thank Adonia for this one here. And finally, we're talking about headwear, special headwear here that creates bonds. He's the one at the bottom there on the right. So as you can see, even headwear can create bonds. Basically, everything that the guys did together, in whatever big or small group they did, created a unique experience. MBA 29 will be different from MBA 30 and was different from MBA 28. Why? Because of you. The processes may change, the input may change, but it's you that made the difference. And just because it finishes now doesn't mean that the relationships have to finish now. So I'm going to finish off with very simply something that we saw many, many times, and I really believe in, and it's linked to the Dunbar number, which is we are what we share. And the sharing doesn't finish now, even though the MBA finishes. So please, ladies and gentlemen, use what you've made and continue those ties, because the more you do, the more that you'll be able to be a success. So congratulations, guys, and thank you for sharing a year with us.
Dear participants, during this year, we have mentioned many times the importance of being part of our community. Let's welcome a former MBA participant and now Vice President of the MIB Alumni Association, Maria Paula Sartori.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, dear MBA 29, it's a pleasure for me to be here today, sharing this special moment with you, not only with you, but with your families, professors, school, okay, and your friends, and celebrate together with you this new important achievement that you got. So, you have successfully completed an international and top-level program, an MBA in International Business. If I may quote Tim Baxter, it's quite difficult to talk after Tim, okay? But the more you put in, the more you get out. So today we are here, you are here, celebrating the result of your effort and commitment during this hard year that was full of frustration, stress, full of tests, exams, assignments, projects. But on the other hand, I am sure that you are getting out full of satisfaction, happiness, great experiences, new friends, and beautiful memories that make you become a better version of yourselves, both personally and professionally. Therefore, on behalf of the MIB Alumni Association, congratulations, MBA 29. So with this ceremony, you are concluding your full-time learning program at MIB, but for sure you are not concluding your MIB experience. So what about now that this intense year is arriving to the end? You belong to a small group of people in the world that have achieved an international program and a post-university studies. This backpack of experience and knowledge increases your potentialities, but also your responsibilities. So now it's your time to do even better and more, and to put all you have learned in practice, and with the passion to contribute on building up a better world for all of us. And here is where the MIB Alumni Association steps in. We strongly believe that staying together makes us stronger. We believe in MIB spirit, right? So in this sense, being part of a community and getting involved will give you the sense of belonging to something, as Tim already said. And this will allow you to write new chapters in this MIB experience. The MIB Alumni Association is, in fact, an active community working to make its members fully aware of the huge potential it has to offer. But taking advantage of this potential depends on what you do and how you commit. So I would like to invite you to take advantage of the opportunities that arise by connecting with 1,000 people around the world with different backgrounds and different stories, and also share your stories and experiences with us. Take the advantage of the lifelong learning opportunities and leisure activities. We usually organize seminars, workshops, company visits, but also some sport activities like golf, football matches, MIB on the snow, etc. Do your part and help strengthening the value of the MIB brand, that this will enhance also the value of the diploma that we are all holding. And last but not least, get ready. The world is becoming more and more challenging every day and demanding an open and innovative mindset from all of us. So change is upon us and it's accelerating. Get ready then to face those rapid changes and the challenges you will need to face. Get also updated to understand the complex flow of information and be able to keep yourself one step forward. And never, never give up. Remember that the most famous people in the world had to fail before achieving their dreams. So be resilient and persistent and go for them. I hope I gave you enough motivations and transmit my passion for the MIB Alumni Association. And I would like to invite you to be part of it actively. So please feel free to talk with me or with Dorina, our president, that it is here today, or also with the school to get involved, share your ideas, and give us feedback. You are more than welcome. MBA 29, thank you for your attention, and again, congratulations.
Thank you, Paula. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest, Mr. Cristiano Borian, Group Chief Financial Officer, Generali Group, who will make a speech specially addressed to the new graduates.
Thank you, everybody. Dear graduates, Dean Nanut, school directors, families, and friends of the graduates, I am particularly happy and thankful to be here today. It is a great day in your life, but this is just the start of a new journey. If I look into your eyes, there is proud, achievement, maybe doubts, questions for the future. So I ask myself, what should I address today in this speech? Okay, I will not speak about numbers, even though I should be supposed to know them. And I want to talk about something which could be useful for you in facing the future challenges or everything which can happen starting from tomorrow. So today I will talk about passion, choices, learning, trying and finding your strengths. And the way I would like to structure this speech is I would like to share with you very simple facts happening into my life, which could be useful as a lesson, which I would like to share. The first fact was back to the time to decide which major at university I should have taken. And frankly speaking, I always loved maths. I was between two, maths, physics, and engineering. And I remember I was a little bit confused or with many doubts, because I was afraid that physics would have led me with less probability to find a job, even though I loved it. And you know, I have a father which was a very hard worker, never entered into my life, all choices, sports, school. But in that moment, I remember he was asking me, what do you like? And I say, physics. I say, then do what you like. And you have to understand, for this man to tell me this was quite important, because he had never had the chance to go on at university, because he was the first of 3 sons, and my grandfather died in the last year of high school, so he had to stop and work to support the family. And so, let me say the first lesson I can take out of that is, when looking for your way in life, if you have the chance, do what you like. So let's move on, follow the timeline, and go at the end of my university, where, as a young student of physics, I had the chance, due to, let's say, opportunity, grades, to go and do research in a very important place, which is the European Center for Nuclear Research in Geneva. So I went there, I started to do basically a research 1-year thesis, and I felt myself like being from the good schoolboy of Trieste to a young Padawan in a Jedi temple, because it was really, really high, the level. Frankly speaking, after 2 weeks, I wanted to quit. I remember I called my fiancée, my mother, my father. Was telling them, it's too tough, I can't make it. They are so smart, they are so good. And they say, okay, if you can't, you decide, it's your choice, your call. Then, the day after, I started to understand, in a 1-hour speech of these people, a little piece. So I decided to go on, because I thought, let's try to learn. Maybe this is the pace to learn. I should not expect to learn immediately. It is like when you climb and you find a small spot to lean on. So the lesson I can take out of this experience is, don't be impatient to learn, but never stop learning and believing in yourself. So, let's move on. After a few months, having passed a difficult moment, I was a little bit cookie now, a guy understanding in this nice place. I was learning, I was doing my research, and it was a moment where we had, in this center at CERN, there was a very big cafeteria. So I was with my professor, we had a coffee. Coffee was a fantastic moment to learn things. I learned a lot there, more than doing research, because there were people so smart you could talk to. And then an old man sits onto our table, and my professor cheered him, said hello, and this old man started talking me and asking what I was studying, what I was looking, what was the topic of my research, and I was explaining him, and then I say, yes, but you know, before doing this part of the research, now I'm stuck in studying, you know, one thing, which was the muonic neutrino, which is one of the small particles you have in nature. And this man told me, oh, I never understood anything about that. So I said, you know, old man, I thought, okay, could be, you know. So I felt a little bit, you know, he doesn't understand. So we ended the coffee. It was the time to say, shake hands. And by the way, we didn't present each other, so this is Mr. Borre, a young student, okay, and pleased to meet you. Jack Steinberger. Jack Steinberger, for who doesn't know, was Enrico Fermi Scholar, 1988 Nobel Prize for the muonic neutrino. And it was a quite interesting moment when I said, I was cookie. I thought this guy didn't understand. I overestimated myself. So the lesson learned there is never underestimate someone or think that you are smarter. You could make very big mistakes. Let's go on. University concludes. It's time to decide what to do. And I decide to go for PhD. So I applied, there was a bilateral grant which had the opportunity for whom would have get it, to go and do research in a University of Stanford laboratory in the US. And so that was a very interesting opportunity. That grant, which was basically paid by Italy, but it was unique way, so there were 70 people applying. I decided to start. There was a written and then an oral exam. So after the written exam, among the 70 people, I was in the 5th position, not far away from the first one, but you know, the first one position was already after the written of a guy of an Italian university, Scuola Normale of Pisa, École Normale for the people, so the best school of physics in Italy. So I said, I will not go to the oral. I mean, there is no chance to do it. And there, I remember my fiancée, which is now my wife, and she told me, why don't you do it? At worst, if it doesn't work, you learn something. Well, it happened that I did it. And it happened that I don't know why, because sometimes in life you need to be lucky, because believe me, people were very good, but they asked me things I was able to answer, and I got this grant. And then I thought back about this moment, and the lesson I think I can learn is never back down from the challenge. The worst thing that can happen is that you learn. The best thing is that it can change your life. So let's try to move still further. We are at a moment where I was completing the last part of the PhD. I was in the US, fantastic place, really, really smart people, really smart people. And by chance, one night, I was in an Italian dinner of Thanksgiving people, Italian people doing their whatever, and I found a guy which was doing a PhD in finance. I say, what do you do? Balance sheet, accounting, what is finance? I say, no, you know, it's something complex. You know, okay, complex, but you know, I was a physicist, so try to explain me. You know, I'm studying derivatives. What is a derivative? I know it's a financial instrument whose price depends on the price of something else. Okay, fine. But practically, what were you doing? And basically, he told me and said, okay, now explain me really the task, the mathematical issue you have, how to solve. And basically, when he told me, that was something that physicists knew from 50 years and said, look, I think you should do in that way. So he told me, why don't you follow just an auditor? I mean, you don't have to take exam, your major is physics. But come in the Stanford Business School, there is a professor called Darrell Duffy, which was an engineer, very quantitative, which loved these people, just learn. And I just learned one class. The name was Dynamic Asset Pricing Theory. So the only thing I knew was how to price a security in the market, nothing else. No balance sheet, no economy. And then I found myself in a position where basically I had the chance to come back to Italy because there were that bilateral, you know, the brain come back story. And After a few months, I was not feeling well about what I was doing, and especially because I was clearly understanding that I would have never been relevant. What I studied for, the people I've seen there, in Geneva, in US, in Stanford, were really, really smart people. I would have never been at that level. I thought at a certain point that that thing could have been interesting to me. And so, also because, you know, I was going at a certain point, I wanted to be married, so I have to make decisions where to stay. I sent my CV to Generali. Still, I was in the last part with my paper of Stanford as well I was having, so I sent, just to be a little bit flashy, you know, Stanford stuff. And Generali never answered for a period. And one day I was with my fiancée, you know, and I was telling her, look, the level should be so high that they never even opened the stuff because, I mean, I don't know anything about, but at least, you know, maybe a background could be useful. And she said, no, be patient. And then, I don't know whether she had teleportation or future, but the same day, I received a call from Generali. And they asked me to make an interview. And then, basically, it all started. And when I did this interview, I was very clear in telling to the head of finance at that time that I knew only those things. So when you do all this kind of stuff, when you will be facing opportunities, don't overshoot. Tell what you know, okay? I just told, I know only this. So he tested me on what I knew, nothing else. I could not say, I know the balance sheet, I'm an expert. No. So, I even told him, because he asked me about a failure, no? I was explaining him that there was an interesting story, because my only relationship with finance, apart from the derivatives, was the finance committee in the European laboratory, where they decided to stop, cut cost, and go to a new project. So, would they have not cut the cost, and would they have done some fixes in the accelerator of particle, they would have found the famous Higgs boson, maybe you heard a few years ago. But we had to wait many years for that. And I was working with a lady of Milan, whose name was Fabiola Gianotti, which now is the director of the CERN. And my life could have changed if that finance committee, these very nasty people wanted to always make money and cut costs, had decided to go on. It didn't happen, so I went to US, and life took a different direction. And I decided to do that without any regret, because I knew it was the moment to change. So the lesson learned about this experience is that when you understand it does not fit for you, change. It is not a failure, it is just a new start. So, let's go on. Now, I started my job in Generali. I had a fantastic opportunity because they let me really go global. This is an international company. You can really go global. I had experience in the UK, in France, and then I came back and forth. Then I got married. And then it was a moment when they asked me to decide whether to do specialist career or generalist career. And I say generalist. So they sent me to do business in an Italian company, which for the Italian people knowing, but also people maybe living in Trieste, is Genertel, which is the direct line, the direct companies which selling through web, and at the beginning in 1994, it has been created by phone. So I start a new job completely, moving out of finance to business. And exactly in that moment, which is 10 years ago, I became father. With the birth of my daughter, I really experienced a very tough moment because I understood the meaning of a 1 in 10,000 probability, okay? And that put us through a lot of pain, fear, but thanks to all of these, emotions, feelings, events, I discovered something, you know, for someone very rational, very concentrated on the figures, always straight line, was new. I discovered empathy. And a complete new set of behavioral and people care, understanding dimensions opened up in front of me. I really, looking backward in these last years, what happened, I really think that without this experience, I probably would not have progressed in the people management and care, which is one of the fundamental tasks if you want to do management. You can start your own company, but you have to have the vision and bring the people. You can be a manager within a company, and remember that when you are within a company, you work for the company and not at the company. Don't forget this if you take this choice. So that was really important. And sharing something like personal like this is just to tell you that what happens in the most personal aspects of your life can make you also a better manager. So don't forget this. Seize from everything you grasp as life, experience, bring everything into context, let everything happen to you, bringing something relevant. Now, we go on. There are other steps which happened. I got opportunities to come back. There was an acceleration in my career, first coming back to the head office and doing corporate finance, and then I moved to France as chief financial officer of our French subsidiary, which was, let's say, the second, third largest, depending which metric you want to use. Everything depends on metrics when you want to decide the ranking. And then last year, it happened that for an incredible series of consequences, I was offered the group CFO position for Generali. So here, let me tell you something, which it was supposed to be personal, but since after our HR director told in front of all the unions meeting of Generali, I think it could be public as well. So I got our group CEO asking me, I would like you to give this position. So just to clarify, what does it mean for me, Generali, is like being born in Torino and having the possibility to play, starting playing in Juventus, because this is the dream job. More than this, what could I have? But notwithstanding this, I just asked him one weekend to decide, because I want to share that decision with my wife, because it was very important also for the personal impact. Such kind of job are demanding, are from all aspects important, and so you need to be prepared and to agree. And you need to have strengths everywhere. And you need to find these strengths. So the lesson I learned, having done this, is that you should share with your beloved, whether it be your partner, your parents, your best friend, whoever, the important choices. Their support is your strength. So, after all that, a new journey started last year, and basically, the simplest way to describe it is to use a piece of Thomas Stern Eliot, poet, of a poetry, which is, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. So, what is important personally to tell you is, I didn't want to give you numbers, lessons. You will have plenty of opportunities about that, and maybe I'm not good in teaching you things. I think that sharing challenges, this part, are important for your decision you will have to take. No more, no less. I would like just to tell you some further tips, which I think are important, which do not deserve a story, but I think are relevant for you. This is a management school. Managing is, as Tim Baxter said, interacting with people. Within this, leading to the objectives and the change you want, getting where you want. This interaction works only if you care. You have to care the people. You have to care about them. You cannot cheat on this. They are smarter than you and judge immediately. So on this aspect, if you really want to get there, you really need to walk the talk. It's really important. It's not a book. It's not something you learn. It's something you live, but something you really need to live. And in order to do that, I suggest you that you will have difficulties, challenges. It's life. I mean, you cannot expect everything will be a straight line. It will be even boring, no? Because dynamics, sorry for just a physics going back, dynamics is when there is a change in the inertia you have, is a change of the direction. Dynamics means a change of something, an acceleration, a deceleration. So dynamics brings things on. You should, in your journey, always lean on your own core values, the inner one. Because there could be tough moment, there could be good moment. Don't be overexcited in a good moment. Don't go down in the bad moment, because there will be. Lean on your inner values. Another thing, if you happen to go not running your own business, if you work for a company, as I was telling you, you will interact and you will have always a boss. Each one of us has a boss, okay? At all levels, there is always a boss. But you do not fold onto your boss ideas and behaviors. You don't have to do that. You have to express your ideas always, because unless you will not be yourself, you will be your boss, and he doesn't need you. As a boss, when I manage people, I don't need people telling me that I'm good, I'm nice, I'm right. I need people telling you, Cristiano, be aware, this is wrong. You can take a big risk. These are the most worth, the most helpful people, okay? So even our boss, your boss, they need, okay, such kind of help. Then there is another thing which is important and should be even more stressed depending the position you have, depending the exposure you have, is that you have always to choose an unpleasant truth versus a comforting lie. Don't forget this. This is one, going back to Mr. Baxter, point of relationship, one of the most difficult things when you interact with people. And as a manager, you will have to tell them sometimes that something is wrong. And you need to change. If you need to change things, you cannot say everything is fine, everything is good. You need to give the reason why. And things happen. There could be issues sometimes. You need to choose the unpleasant truth. It's a narrow path. It is a steep path, but it is the path. So, I know that I was too long, and I was the last obstacle between yourself and the graduation. I hope I give you 2 pence of things which could be useful for your next future. I really wish you all the best, because we need you to progress. The world needs people which want to progress with such kind of values. such kind of capabilities. Now it's time to stop and celebrate you. I just leave you with my favorite say from St. Augustine. Love and do what you want.
Dear MBA 29, now it is time to officially celebrate your efforts. I invite Professor Nanut and Professor Traconia to join me in presenting your diplomas. On behalf of the Faculty Committee, the school is pleased to confer the MBA in International Business degree to the following. From Italy, Ariana Alessio. Ariana is not here today with us. I hope she is watching the ceremony live, so we will keep her diploma. From Brazil, Daniel Augusto Arraiz Caputo Bastos. From Italy, Irving Donadon. From Italy, Alessio Dorazio. From South Africa, Stefano Stewart Horning. From Italy, Alessandro Piergiorgio Italiano. From Italy, Antonina Leggio. From Brazil, Raquel Lima Ribeiro Caputo Bastos. From Italy, Francesco Mesidoro. From Italy, Elisa Perotta. From Albania, Pulum Plangaritsa. The school is pleased to confer the MBA in International Business degree with honors to the following. From Argentina, Lisandro Espíndola. From Italy, Luca Gaglione. From Italy, Valeria Grafeo. From Argentina, Mario Eduardo Hernández. From Italy, Alessandro Iania. From Italy, Adonia La Camera. From Venezuela, Diego Enrique López Miota. From Italy, Simone Mancinelli. From China, Min Song. From Italy, Caterina Venier Romano. Congratulations to you all. And now it's your turn. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of MBA 29, please welcome Valeria Grafeo.
Last once again, but hopefully not least. Good morning, everybody. It is a great honor for me to be delivering this speech to such a unique audience today. And I would like to start by sharing our immense gratitude towards all of you coming from all different places to join our graduation ceremony today here in person in Trieste, as well as those who are following via live streaming. This is a special day for us, and being able to share it with you all, it makes it even more special. I would like to take this opportunity to say thanks to our Professor Nanut, Dean of the MIB Trieste School of Management, established by himself in 1988, to our Academic Director, Professor Tracogna, and Program Manager, Victoria Plez, for holding our hands and helping us throughout this journey. To our leadership dynamics and accountability team for pushing the boundaries and turning a group of absolute strangers into a family. To the members of the faculty and visiting professors for sharing their knowledge and answering all our very demanding questions. And last but not least, to our families, friends, and beloved ones for supporting us during the ups and downs in these past months. To you all, on behalf of MBA 29 fellow students, a big thank you. We simply could have not made it without you, and we are grateful for your contribution to this success. Each of us started their journey from a very different angle and with very different background and expectations, didn't we? Individuals from all around the world, Albania, Argentina, Brazil, China, Croatia, Egypt, Italy, Slovenia, South Africa, Thailand, and Venezuela. We all met here for the first time at the mystical Ferdinandeo Palace, home of this business school, eager to learn and to find answers to all our questions. But the more questions we were asking, the more questions we had, soon we realized. A journey inwards and upwards is what this MBA has represented to us all. Getting outside your comfort zone, discovering your own strengths and limits, learning to fail and let go eventually led towards greater consciousness of ourselves. And most importantly, we made it together, supporting each other during the hardships and the long day in class, the many exams and project works with strict and sometimes conflicting deadlines. An old English proverb says, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." Throughout the journey, we acquired new competencies and skills and built so many precious memories which will live vividly in our hearts for a long time. The 2 days in Lignano Sabbiadoro, the gatherings at the Bastos house, the Italian aperitivos at Cemut, Osteria Friulana, the study tours in London, Milan, Munich, the visit of our friends from the Guangzhou University in China at the Rollins College in the States, to whom we say, hello, we made it. And again, they understand now the football matches against our friends from Mim and Origini here cheering us today. The MBA Cup, the Ball, the Opera, and all other social activities organized by our dear Professor Pilotto and the Alumni Association. The Common Isle craft project for MIB in the community, the cruise in Croatia, and the gifts, the slackline challenge, and so many more special memories which we'll keep in our hearts. We've learned the importance of finding the right balance. We've learned that better questions can lead to better decisions. We've learned that in business, things are never done by one person only. By sharing our resources, we can achieve greater outcomes. Not who begins, but who perseveres is the motto of the Italian training ship Amerigo Vespucci we visited all together one day in Trieste at the very beginning of this journey, remember? We've been given the tools. We now have the power to choose the professionals we want to be, the leaders we want to be in the future. And the accountability for achieving the desired results is no one's but our own. To my dear MBA 29 fellow students, whom I kindly thank for being part of my personal journey, to them go my very best wishes. Make excellent choices. Thank you.
Thank you, Valeria. Dear graduates, you have successfully completed your educational path at MIB, and you are now ready to face new challenges. As your program manager, I had the opportunity to follow you from the very first day, and I know that the MBA experience that you shared has deeply transformed you. A few months ago, I passed some weeks trying to solve a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle. I like puzzles very much. And while I was working on it, I thought about you many times. You see, solving a puzzle is quite difficult, and it takes time and patience. Every little piece is unique and has only one right position. At the beginning, you are really disoriented and don't know what to do or where to start from. Then, as you understand how it works, you begin to get involved. And as soon as you see some signs of progress, you become passionate. Passion goes together with discovery as you start to get an idea of the whole picture. But sometimes a wrong piece can take you away from your goal and make you frustrated or even want to give up. You need to search for new solutions or alternatives, and in the end, persistence and hard work reward you with the final result. You followed the same path during your MBA. First, experiencing disorientation, followed by the necessary involvement and discovery. You learned by doing, putting together all the many pieces that each one of you brought with the ones that we gave you. By assembling your different backgrounds and colorful personalities with the academic knowledge, the many different assignments and projects, social activities, career and network opportunities, you built up your MBA experience step by step. The MBA challenged your existing thought patterns and opened up new ways of reading and approaching situations. Overcoming obstacles and failing well were very important elements that helped you in strengthening your character and encourage you not to give up. You did a great job. Each one of these many small pieces placed together made the big difference. And today, if you take one little step back, you can finally reflect on the MBA experience that you built together. An experience that will always be part of you and will weigh long beyond graduation. From now on, you can look back with great memories and look forward to broader horizons. I would like to thank you for your enthusiasm, curiosity, and energy. It has been a pleasure and honor to work with you. I am very proud of you, and I will miss you. On behalf of myself and everybody at MIB, I wish you all the best in your professional careers and personal lives. Keep in touch, and hope to see you in the near future. Thank you. Before concluding the ceremony, I'd like to welcome the participants of the MBA 30 that will be starting the program next week. We have a tradition to respect, a tradition that started right at the beginning of the MBA graduation ceremonies, where le baton is passed from one MBA generation to the next one. So in order to do so, I invite Elisa on behalf of MBA 29 and Bruno on behalf of MBA 30. Come, Bruno. to join me on the podium. Please, Professor Pilotto, can you help us?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the symbols of our school. It's the symbol of continuity. It's the symbol of values. It's the symbol of work. We started 31 years ago together. Professor Nanut asked me to help him, and it was a great honor. And also Andrea Traconia immediately joined us, and we started with the MBA 1. And Professor Modugno, who is sitting there, was one of our students of MBA 1 at that moment. So you have a responsibility. Your course just ended the program. It was a great year we share with you all. Now you are ready to start to face the ocean, the unknown, but you have a strong reference. Paula was mentioning the big spirit. And Valeria was also mentioning the mystical Ferdinand de Opalas. This is the reference, the school, and you transfer that to the next generation, and then you will meet again all together to help each other. So Elisa, please transfer this important symbol to Bruno.
Ladies and gentlemen, our ceremony has reached the end. Please join us downstairs in the pavilion for a farewell cocktail. But first, I invite the graduates to come here to do the official photo. Thank you.